Use your powers for evil.
Your evil is mine.
Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Next Stop Everywhere, your podcast all about Doctor Who. And today we have a great one to talk about, don't we, Charles?
Yes, we do. Another great one.
Yes.
3 great ones in a row.
Yes, but Charles just depressed me by reminding me, hey, we're fourth way through the series. Like, what?
Yeah. We just started.
Yeah, how can that happen? Yes, but
So now we know how the Game of Thrones fans feel.
absolutely. In fact, when we did our Game of Thrones podcast, we ended up doing 19 episodes on a 10-episode series.
Nice.
And we just kept finding more things to talk about. But today we're going to talk about non-high-fiving, sign language, ghost, and our thoughts on the Sonic Shades, which has turned out to be a little controversial, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
Yes, so we are going to talk Under the Lake,
Mm-hmm.
and let's do quick thoughts.
Go ahead if you want to go with your
Yeah,
thoughts.
I really liked it a lot. I thought it was spooky. Reminded me a little bit of Waters of Mars,
Mm-hmm.
mostly because they're in an enclosed area and they're fighting, but I guess this also could be the Christmas special, right? I mean, this is not uncommon waters, pardon the pun, for Doctor Who to be in an enclosed place and fighting a villain. But yeah, I thought it was creepy and fun and a little bit scary. So I was really happy with it.
Yeah, I totally agree. This episode, because of the undersea base location, it felt a little claustrophobic,
Yes.
which was good because it added to the unease you have watching this episode,
Yeah, I think it helped drive the episode a lot.
especially if you're like, as it should be, if you should be watching Doctor Who in the dark.
Yes.
So if you're watching it, like with the lights off or at least dimmed down low,
Mhm.
and yeah, you really got into this episode. It was very atmospheric,
Yes.
which I loved, and very old school in feel a little bit,
Yeah,
which I
and
liked as well.
yeah, I agree.
With a great cliffhanger.
Yes, a great cliffhanger. As much as I at times can be frustrated with the two-parter, wonderful cliffhanger. Absolutely. And this is Toby Whithouse,
Yes,
correct?
this is Toby Whithouse, who wrote the excellent episode School Reunion, and then wrote episodes like The God Complex, which were not so great.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it's great to see him back on form with this. I think he did an excellent job. This is easily my favorite of his episodes since School Reunion, hands down.
Well, he's kind of the new Stephen Moffat, and that I see a lot of chatter about people going, "Oh, I can't wait for him to be the next showrunner," and I keep going, "Yes," and then you will hate him.
Well, yeah, that's
Right?
yeah. Apparently, that seems to be the norm. Is that we want that new showrunner so bad, and then as soon as they come on board, we start like dogpiling on him.
Yeah.
And unfairly, in my opinion. And then
Oh, absolutely.
and then then you end up hating him, and then you want him gone. It's like
Right.
People just aren't happy.
Yeah, and I also was a big fan of both his Being Human series.
Right.
I think it was certainly the British one was really good.
It was.
But I was impressed how they took the sci-fi and took it in a totally different way.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I liked it as much. I don't know if I liked it. If I had to rank them, I think British would be a little bit higher.
Right.
But it still was certainly not just a pale imitation of, that happens sometimes.
It was enjoyable. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I read a little bit, I saw a little bit, and I was I was live tweeting the episode, not passionately and everything. I did a see, and so I was on Twitter, and it seemed like people were a little too complaining about Claire being a little too casual.
Right.
Like, even though she's in this in the middle of this exciting, scary, life-threatening situation, she's almost like she's on a scary ride at a theme park or watching a horror movie, just enjoying the experience. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, last season, of course, they weren't happy because Clara is lying to everybody.
Right.
And involved with, with Danny and lying to the doctor and all this. So now that all that's been stripped away and Clara just wants to go out and have adventures with the doctor, now they're not happy because they feel that, maybe she's becoming too much of an adrenaline junkie, and she's trying to push like the maybe almost, it feels like she has almost kind of a death wish, perhaps.
And
but they did have a scene that did address that.
Yes.
Where the doctor kind of reels her in a little bit and says, look, he essentially basically says, well, look, there's only room for one of us here.
Yeah, there's only room for one crazy guy. Yes.
And I'm him. So
see, I took this as, and no one's going to be shocked that I'm going to take a more optimistic version, right?
Right.
But I just took it as she's incredibly confident after spending time with the doctor that they're going to come out okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she has everything, every confidence in the doctor, and is just not worried that, she's going to, he's going to take care of her.
Right.
And so, and Charles, I apologize, but my phone has rang twice, and Linda's not here, so I'm going to make sure. So let's pause. Okay.
So how was that phone conversation with the doctor?
Yes, it was the cloister bell.
Which there's trouble.
Yes. What was very, very funny is if you watch the episode with subtitles, it says cloister bell ringing.
Yep.
Which I thought was really, really great.
And as we know, when the cloister bell rings, it just got real.
Yes.
So it's on. So
okay.
Stuff happening.
All right. So yes, I think, as I said, and we're kind of catching up again. We had to take a little bit of a break, but I think Claire is incredibly confident, and she's just and I do think a little bit she is adrenaline junkie, but I do think she is. This is her way. Like, she believes the love of her life is gone.
Right. She has nothing else going on in her life.
Right. And so she has embraced this totally. So, I don't see a problem with it at all. And I thought, in fact, it was kind of interesting to see her, kind of, well, of course it's going to be great,
right.
So, yeah.
And it could also be that they're laying groundwork for Clara's exit.
Yes.
At the end of the season.
Yeah, it could be.
So we'll see.
Do you think they knew she was leaving?
Well, she's been on and off leaving for two seasons now, where she was like, well, she's going to leave at the end of Matt Smith's run. No, she's going to stick around, and then she's going to go through the Christmas special. Well, no, she's going to stay after the Christmas special, and then she's going to go on and do Series 8. So, yeah, it's...
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just that they kind of figured, well, she was probably going to go at some point anyway soon, so they're probably had that plan, and then would change their plans if she changed her mind again.
And Charles, I'm going to say this as it's hard to call me a newbie fan anymore after episodes, but as someone at least has gotten to be a little bit, be careful what you wish for, because a new companion may not be what you want.
Right.
And the reality is, you just need to appreciate each kind of doctor and each companion in their own kind of uniqueness.
Right.
And they all bring something to the table.
Well, what's going to be funny, speaking as someone who's obviously been through this a number of times,
right?
As soon as Jenna Coleman exits, you'll initially have that like a bunch of fans going, "Yay, she's gone!"
Yeah.
And then as soon as they see the new companion, they'll be like, "Oh, bring Clara back! We want Clara back!"
Yeah.
And that'll go on for a little while, and then they'll get used to the new companion.
Right.
So you can't win no matter what.
No, you can't. And who was the we had a listener who sent us a really nice defense of Clara, and I remember her email, but I can't remember her name, but where she talked about, kind of Clara is in her own adventures, and
Right.
yeah, so yeah, I have no problem with Clara, and I think it's nice, and besides, you and her are best of buddies now, so of course you're gonna like her.
Well, I wouldn't say going through an autograph line and getting a signature is best of
Ah, come
buddies.
on.
But hey, if she wants to hang out sometime, I'm more than willing. Yeah,
Absolutely.
we could hit the town.
Mhm.
I'm sure we can make that happen. But
Absolutely.
yep,
Um,
definitely open to
s-
Jenna. So Jenna, call me.
yeah, yes. I'm a big fan of, and this is confession time. I was just listening to the Nerdist with Marina from Firefly, and
Oh,
and
and
yeah, and Chris Hardwick was talking about his fiance is obsessed with ABC family shows, and they're all depressing.
right.
And I was like, yes, I watch Chasing Life. It is depressing, but I also
They
watch Switched at Birth,
and they
which
canceled
is
it, right?
yes,
Yeah.
which and a big part of Switched at Birth is one of the characters is deaf, and so they do a lot of signing.
Right.
And so I was kind of nice. It was kind of nice to see a character, and I guess it's not American Sign
Right.
Language.
No, it's British Sign Language.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
I really love that, especially because my nephew Anthony is deaf.
okay.
And so shout out to my sister Lisa,
Yes.
who probably really loved Under the Lake because
Yeah.
it was really the first episode to really feature a deaf character like that. So,
Yeah.
and I thought that was great. It's long overdue, in my
Mm,
opinion, but
yeah.
yeah, it was great. It was great seeing a deaf character on Doctor Who, and with a significant role, not just somebody who's there on screen for maybe a couple minutes and then that's it.
No, because toward the end of the episode, the doctor said, "When I leave the room, you're the smartest one here."
Right.
And they did not do a cutoff to Claire going, "Hey," like
Yeah.
Missy.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was really nice.
Well,
Uh,
is Clara really going to be mad that the deaf person is, getting some
yeah.
props? Because
Yeah. Exactly.
that would look really bad.
Yes. Um, yeah, so I thought that was a nice moment. And I thought it was really funny that, he's just so cocky. Oh, I don't need you to do this.
Hmm.
I translate, and then it's like, oh, I must have deleted.
Deleted that. Yeah,
Yes.
it was lost in the regeneration apparently, and now he only knows semaphore.
Yes.
So
Send me some flags.
give me some flags. Yeah.
Yeah, I made the joke that I think the War Doctor is the one who said, okay, we need to get rid of the sign language from the TARDIS. Yes. Very, very nice. The I want to talk a little bit about the Doctor hating authority.
Right.
So, he sets that very quickly in the episode. Who's in charge? So I know who to ignore.
Right.
So Charles, this has been a consistent character. Oh,
Yeah,
listeners, you
us-
only know.
yeah, we just had a slight technical malfunction.
Yes. Yes.
Damn,
So
damn you, ghosts.
yes, it's Ghost in the PC.
Yep.
So the Doctor has never
Skaggs
been.
ghosts. Yeah.
Yes, Doctor has never been a fan of authority.
No, he's resisted leaving Gallifrey. He has this kind of antipathy toward the Time Lords, and right from the start, kind of established himself as an anti-authority figure,
Right.
which is one of the things I just love most about the Doctor. Usually, he's surrounded by all these pompous, full of themselves people in charge that have no business being in charge, so the Doctor is more than happy to cut them down. And I always love that. He just completely just undermines any kind of authority they may have, or criticizes it, mocks it, makes fun of it. and just completely kind of just breaks it down into just the absurdity of the reality that whatever situation they're in at the time.
And what I find interesting is he is the authority, right? I mean, it isn't that he has disdain against authority total. It's just any authority besides him.
Kind
right?
of. Well,
Yeah.
he has no problem with authority as long as they're going along with what he says or what he
Okay.
believes, because he was often at odds with UNIT while he was exiled on Earth. Like the Third Doctor and the Brigadier always had that kind of friction, but he respected the Brigadier.
Yes.
And he respected his authority and saw them as more partners in a lot of ways and fighting off alien invasions of the weak or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's just you have to prove your worthiness to him. He's judgmental, but he can be swayed as long as you prove to him you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then it's been a lot that way, especially with military types. If you're competent and you know what you're doing and you're an effective leader who's open to things and not just closed-minded and wanting to just blast everything in sight right off the bat, the Doctor tends to go along with you.
And one of the he certainly respects Kate. And
but he's not afraid to criticize her.
No.
Especially when she almost blew up nuked London just to prevent the Zygons from invading. But
it was. I really love that, and I like the way they wrote the old guy. Just such a typical bureaucrat,
Pritchard.
Who's not going to get their bonus if this happens?
Yeah, there's always one bureaucratic, mendicant walking around thinking that all he sees is dollar signs and flashing above his head and looking at the bottom line. And usually those guys are the first to go in Doctor Who.
Yeah. What did you think about Clara's cue cards for the Doctor?
I love the index cards. I thought that was great. It harkens back to the line the Doctor, I believe, said in Into the Dalek last season, where he says he was introducing Clara as she cares, so I won't have to.
Yeah.
And so it's her way. She knows how the Doctor is, so she's trying to work with him as best she can, so that he can come off better to others who may not understand his tone or his brusqueness. And it was also used to comedic effect, I think.
Yes.
Because there's like a couple of things. Some of the cards, one of the apology cue card says, and this is a very in-joke for Doctor Who fans, especially old school fans. It says, "It was my fault. I should have known you didn't live in Aberdeen."
Okay, I don't get that joke.
I know you won't get that joke. This was a in-joke reference to the Fourth Doctor dropping off Sarah Jane Smith in Aberdeen rather than her home in South Croydon at the end of The Hand of Fear, which was Elizabeth Sladen's final regular Doctor Who episode.
Okay.
And so, she walks out of the TARDIS thinking that the Doctor's dropped her off at her house, and she's like, she looks around, she's like, wait a minute, this isn't South Croydon, this is Aberdeen. And by that time the Doctor's gone.
Okay, yes.
That's how
okay.
And she just kind of rolls her eyes and is like, all right, whatever, and just walks off into the sunset. But so it's kind of a little nod to the Fourth Doctor era, which I thought was great.
Yes.
And then there's another cue card I love it said, no one is going to be eaten / vaporized / exterminated / upgraded / possessed / mortally wounded / turned to jelly. We'll all get out of this unharmed.
Yes.
Which was great.
It is.
And considering all the various Doctor's enemies, the Cybermen, the Daleks, what have you, that you have to use certain phrases for every occasion. So that's why you had those options. So I kind of loved those.
And I love the "I'm sorry for your loss," and then he reads the slash.
Yes. / wife / pet, whatever. Yeah, I love that too.
That's and I find it especially funny. slight side note is one of my friends that I've worked with, and he's on our poker team, gets complaint. His coworkers complain all the time that he doesn't give them any. He's not soft. He doesn't give them any fluff or any,
Yeah.
And he's now learned. Like he says, "Yay, I've got, my mother died. I need to leave." And he's like, "Okay, but is your work done?" And it needs to get finished, not before you leave, but someone else is going to have to do it. So now then they've trained him to, sorry for your loss.
Yep.
Okay, now then, have you gotten your work done?
Yeah. It's just that, the doctor doesn't, he doesn't have time for all the niceties.
Yes.
And so he ends up like coming off a little bit as cold and insensitive sometimes. So that's what Clara does. She's trying to get him through those awkward social moments that this 12th Doctor really does not enjoy.
And I have a question for you, Charles. I know Capaldi has been pretty consistent on that.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking of, Mummy on the Orient Express, where like you're already dead.
Yeah.
And a couple other things.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Tennant had a little bit of that too. Do you think?
Tennant had it, and Tom Baker had it.
Yeah.
If you watch some of the Breakfast with Bakers on BBC America,
yes,
there are some very cold and personal lines that little barbs that Tom Baker's doctor will zing once in a while. Same with John Pertwee, the third doctor, with his companions or what have you, or the Brigadier. He would kind of cut them really short at times and get a little frustrated. So it's not uncommon.
It's
and the Ninth Doctor would get that way too. So
yeah, and Matt Smith not as much, maybe.
No, he was much more personable and outgoing, and he could get mad,
yes,
and frustrated and angry, but he wasn't a jerk about it.
Yeah, and I think that may
Colin
be
Baker's
one of the
doctor,
reasons.
of course, perfectly. Yeah, Colin Baker's doctor, definitely.
Because I think that may be one of the reasons why fans of the new era had a little bit of, that they've embraced it with Matt Smith.
Right.
And all of a sudden, this callousness of, this person's already dead. I'm trying to save the other people.
Yeah.
It's
a very that brusqueness is very classic Doctor.
Yes.
I mean, William Hartnell had it. So yeah, you had all kind of various doctors that would get that kind of tone, especially with an older actor playing the role.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't have the patience sometimes, to deal with people's stupid questions. So so when the newbies, the New Who fans, the hooligans get a hold of it, they're like, "Oh, this doctor is such a jerk. I hate him. What happened to Matt Smith? He was all friendly, and I want my cute little fuzzy young puppy dog doctors."
Right.
And it's like, that's not traditionally how the role is played. Those were aberrations traditionally to how the Doctor is generally portrayed. So the Capaldi's Doctor definitely appeals more to old school fans.
Yes.
Like myself.
Right.
So I could see why the new fans have trouble with it, but hopefully they're starting to come around, especially since they've tried to lighten up Capaldi's Doctor a little bit, have him have more fun. So hopefully they're embracing him more.
And I think he was very funny so far in the first 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm. He's had some great lines.
Yeah, and I've resisted telling them during our discussion because I don't want to steal either one of ours lines, right?
Right.
Because this was clever. So let's talk about the quote unquote ghosts.
Okay.
I first off, visually they look amazing and creepy, and some really nice interaction between the Doctor and Clara, and I will not use one of the lines because it may be one of our best lines. But she was funny about, are you seem to be a little worried that they're arming themselves now? So that was really cool. So give me your thoughts on it, and also can you dumb it down a little bit for Jesse? I get the Orion sword a little bit, and I understand they're trying to communicate, but if you could kind of give me the Charles version of the the kind of what we're kind of trying to do.
Okay.
That's kind of a vague question.
Yeah,
but
it is. It's kind of it's a little broad, but let's see.
okay.
Well, the one of the things I thought was interesting about these ghosts is that they're able to pick up metal objects like wrenches or what have you, axes or something to that effect.
Right.
And then they can't walk through walls with them.
Right.
So they have to drop them. But
Yes.
so it's why is it just metal?
Yeah, and
I'm sure maybe we'll get explanation hopefully next week about that.
And we know from Supernatural, right, that ghosts don't like iron.
Right.
And I was waiting for a shotgun with salt.
Right.
Yes.
And I think it's entirely possible that these ghosts have something to do with that nuclear reactor that's down there.
Absolutely.
So we'll find that out as well because there's a whole reason why they can't go into the Faraday cage, and so yeah.
Yeah.
As far as the whole like
the MacGuffin.
The whole bit where we find out that these ghosts are like repeating the same phrase over and over. They say the dark, the sword, the forsaken, and the temple. And for a minute there, I was like, they're forsaken. Hey, wasn't that the mummy from Mummy on the Orient Express?
Yes.
But anyway, apparently that's just, coincidental.
Okay.
The doctor figures out that these are coordinates. And so like the dark is supposed to represent space.
Okay.
Okay. The sword is the earth at the tip of the Sword of Orion.
Okay.
The constellation Orion.
Sure.
Okay. So the Forsaken is supposed to be a flooded military village.
Ah, okay.
And the temple is supposed to be the church within that village.
Ah, okay.
So essentially you're going biggest to smallest. You've got space, then you've got earth, then you've got this village on earth, and then you've got this temple.
Okay.
In the village.
Okay.
So that's the way I took it.
Okay. And we don't know
well, we know that they're transmitting these coordinates over and over.
Yes.
With their signal getting stronger as their numbers grow, because they're these ghosts are now transmitters.
Yes, and the idea was we don't know what they're like. Come, the water's fine.
Yeah.
Hey, lunch is being served. we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, what purpose?
There's bingo at 12. I don't know. But...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, I found a really great Doctor Who podcast. You should listen to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So, in case anybody wonders, we're now broadcasting through ghosts.
Yes, we are.
We'll do anything to get those ratings, keep those ratings going up.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Yes.
But that's my take on it anyway.
Okay.
As far as the ghost plan.
Okay. Nice.
I'm sure we'll get more on it next week once we see what happens. But
so I had been on the record that I was a little unhappy there were so many two-parters.
Mm-hmm.
But to be fair, I said that it was because I felt like they stretched the story and it really didn't deserve a two-parter.
Are we backpedaling on that statement a little bit?
We are backpedaling heavily, at least so far. Yes.
Beep, backing up the truck.
Yeah, I read a couple of reviews that thought this was a little slow-paced, but I thought it was just the right amount of moodiness and it fit the story. In other words, I thought the creepiness and everything was right
doesn't need to be fast-paced. Just sit back and enjoy it, savor it.
Yeah. And I thought this odd. And so, what do you think of that final image?
Oh yes, yeah. Well, the cliffhanger. It was a solid cliffhanger. Once again, we got a great cliffhanger at the end of Magician's Apprentice, and we're getting another one now.
Yes.
With the doctor, apparently now one of the ghosts, and that look of as Clara sees him and realizes, like, oh crap, all of our hopes are now dashed because the doctor is now a ghost. No, and it's not looking good for Team Doc Clara, but we're Team TARDIS. But I'm sure, I have a feeling this is kind of a wacky notion that somehow the Doctor will get out of this and everything will be fine.
Yes.
Or maybe with Clara's help he gets out of it. We don't know.
Yes. I loved Clara's kind of speech at the end that says, "Hey, this is what we do.
Yep.
Right? This is how the doctor rolls.
Mhm.
He abandoned us when we're in danger, and we just have to trust that he'll save us." So I like that, and I also it reinforces our theory that she's just enjoying this ride
Right.
and
Exactly.
having to do.
It's a ride through time and space. Yes, there's danger. Obviously, there's danger. So as long as you acknowledge that that's part of the deal, that's the like the iTunes terms and conditions that you never read.
Yes.
That there's some.
Well said.
Thank you. That there is a little fine print to this that, hey, you can go off and see the wonders of the universe, but you may have to like almost get killed on a weekly basis.
Yes.
So
hmm
as long as you're cool with that, it's got to be
Yeah.
amazing. So
Did you know who Shirley Bassey was?
of course I did. I'm a James Bond fan.
I thought
Hell
you
yes.
did. I thought of you.
As soon as he mentioned that the doctor meant Shirley Bassey, I'm thinking Goldfinger. And
I love that it was like he was a little bit tongue shy, they were saying.
Yes.
And yes.
Yeah, maybe use an or, but yeah, it's
who wouldn't he?
Yep.
And I did love the was it something she said? And he tells that Clara even upset Gandhi.
That she can even get in an argument with Gandhi.
Yeah.
So like one of the most peaceful people on the planet.
Yes.
Even Clara can get into an argument with. So yeah, that says a lot for Clara, I guess. But
yeah. So before we give our favorite line,
my wife, but
before we get into lines and ratings,
yeah.
Do you have anything anything we've missed?
Well, there's the whole controversy of the Sonic Shades now, isn't there?
Oh, yes. Okay. So, I actually saw on, I'm trying to think, what does my mom call it? Face space.
Yeah.
My face.
My face.
I saw there's a tradition, there is a petition out there to bring back the sonic screwdriver.
Right.
And then I saw, Stephen Moffat talking about that, that originally the sonic screwdriver was just the screwdriver that made a noise.
Mm-hmm.
He says, and then now it's become this wonderful, magical Swiss Army knife.
Right.
And he said the idea, the shades are really just sunglasses.
Yeah.
But last episode, it appeared they did have a little bit of the sonic screwdriver ability in them. So, Charles.
Yes.
Our listeners are demanding, what is
up with the sonic shades?
Yeah, the Charlester's, opinion on the sonic shades.
It's gonna. My opinion. I posted this on Twitter last night. The sonic shades are essentially Google Glass. Google Glass went away. The sonic shades will go away too. It's just a temporary thing. Moffat's having fun, a little bit of fun with the idea that, hey, let's not keep using the sonic screwdriver over and over. Let's kind of change it up a little bit. He's monkeying around, having the doctor, as he described it, as he's wearing wearable technology.
Yeah.
But it's not going to last. The sonic screwdriver is iconic. The sonic screwdriver has gone away several times over the years.
Right.
Particularly like the Sonic gets destroyed. I believe it was in The Visitation during the Peter Davison era.
Okay.
And was gone through like 2/3 of Peter Davison's run, all the way through Colin Baker, and didn't really kind of return all the way through Sylvester McCoy's original run, and didn't return until the TV movie with Paul McGann.
Right.
So there's a whole that's pretty much 3 doctors without a sonic screwdriver.
Yeah.
And then the first doctor never had one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's not without reason, but they obviously, BBC has toys they want to sell. So don't expect the sonic screwdriver to be gone forever. Maybe it'll be gone throughout the rest of the season at the most, but I'm sure you'll see its return by probably in the season finale, if nothing else.
So
don't panic, Whovians.
Here's our weekly plug to our niece podcast, Cuckoo for Who,
Right.
Martha was saying that she didn't like the shades and that she missed the sonic screwdriver. And Rob said the same thing. He said, look, you can sell a lot more sonic screwdrivers than you can sunglasses.
Yeah.
So the BBC America will not keep this, forever.
Well, and there's a recent interview. I believe I posted it on our Facebook page, Next Stop Everywhere Facebook page. Free plug. But it was Moffat talking about, why he's doing this with the sonic shades.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially he's kind of having a little fun with the fans' expense.
Yeah.
He knows they're going to get outraged. I mean, it's pretty much predictable as clockwork that, yes, they're going to get mad. They want the sonic screwdriver back. But he's kind of like sticking it to him a little bit for a little while. And he's just having fun and messing with people. So whether that's a great idea or not, that's another argument. Personally, I wouldn't do that to the fans, but
no,
Moffat has always had this kind of antagonistic relationship, and it's been antagonistic back on him. So, maybe this is just his way of yanking their chain, but don't expect it to be gone too long. Just relax, guys.
Yeah.
There's bigger things to worry about. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and if there's a reason why Stephen Moffat should leave, is if he finds all his enjoyment out of just teasing the fans, that's a bad sign. Though I don't think that's the case. I think, they showed a little video interview with him where it said, we're just having a little fun.
Right.
Because the idea was the sonic screwdriver was not originally everything it was. And so I liked it. I think it's fun. I almost think they throw it off to cosplayers everywhere. Like, okay, there's the 3D glasses, and there's been, David Tennant certainly wore glasses with his lay once. But, now here's another thing you can do for
cosplaying.
Cosplay.
Yeah.
So,
it steps up your 12th Doctor cosplay. Have fun with it, guys.
Yeah, exactly. So absolutely.
So,
what else have we need to discuss?
I think that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh yeah, I thought it was interesting that the TARDIS is afraid of ghosts, or at least these ghosts.
I loved the idea that at the beginning of the episode he's touching the TARDIS outside, almost the way a cowboy would talk to his horse, right?
Right.
Are you okay, girl? What's going on? Talk to me.
Especially if that horse's name is Susan.
Yes, and she expects you to respect her life choices.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting and very, very cool with that.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
So I like that, and then the bit where the TARDIS is not translating this alien language, which we kind of got, if you saw The Impossible Planet.
Yes.
Where there's this alien language that the Doctor or the TARDIS can't translate because it's so old. So apparently this is another ancient language that the TARDIS can't translate.
Yeah.
And which does not bode well if you remember how The Impossible Planet turned out.
Right. Absolutely.
So, things could get a little hinky here, but we'll find out what happens.
Yes.
But I think it's just something to pay attention to.
I totally agree. Okay.
That's pretty much all I have.
Okay. Do you want to rank first? Do you want me?
Go ahead.
Okay. I give this 9 TARDIS radios.
Okay.
I thought this one was, as I said, it was paced really well. It was creepy enough. It had a lot of funny lines in it, and so yeah, I was really happy with this one.
Yeah, I enjoyed this one too. I give this one 8.5 out of 10. Index cards used to reassure all you pudding brains.
Ooh, I like that one. I like it a lot. All right. I'm going to let you go first on lines.
Okay. The My favorite, we kind of already mentioned it, but I'm going to mention it again because it's such a brilliant line. My favorite line of the episode was, "So, who's in charge now? I need to know who to ignore."
Yes.
That's such a perfect Doctor line.
Yes.
Uh,
And
fits in with the anti-authority.
Yes. I do love the fitting into that. It's okay. I understand. You're an idiot.
Yes.
And I tweeted and copying friend of the show Ken Schaefer. Oh, the executives! I have wanted to say that too. Cannot be counted, right? Do you have a runner-up?
Yeah. My runner-up line was, so we're fighting an unknown homicidal force that has taken the form of your commanding officer and a cowardly alien underwater in a nuclear reactor. Anything else I should know? Has anyone got a peanut allergy or something?
Good. That was I love that line, and in fact, I got behind because I kept backing forward to try to write it, and so the other line that was very good is, "Are you sure?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, depends how you define the word sure.
Yeah, that's good.
And I like adventure as much as the next guy if the next guy loves adventure. So yes, a very, very clever and fun episode.
And there was a great exchange real quick between Bennett and the Doctor where Bennett asks, "Wait, you're going to go back in time? How do you do that?" And the Doctor replies, "Extremely well."
That is great. So thumbs up. We're excited for the second half of the story, so that's going to be great. But Charles.
Yes?
We had something else happen this week, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Apparently we have a new spin-off.
Now, had you sometimes are more keyed into that internet thing than I am.
The interwebs.
Yes. So I guess there was a lot of noise and rumbling that the BBC was going to make a big announcement.
Yes.
Had you known that?
Yes, it was hashtag the big announcement.
Okay.
And we had fun with it on Twitter.
Okay.
Making fun of what kind of stupid things that they might announce. But generally, fans were hoping for either the announcement that new lost episodes had been found of the classic episodes, either from the William Hartnell or Patrick Troughton era that is still out there.
Genghis Khan. I'm trying to think.
It was Marco Polo.
Okay,
that's a big one because that's the fourth story. And that's the oldest missing story at the moment. So that would kind of fill in a nice little gap between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
So that would be a really good one. Or 9, 10. So it'd be a really good one to get. Or they want the 10th Planet episode 4, which is the end of the last episode of the Hartnell era, because we only have parts 1 through 3, and then the fourth one has been animated. So that would have been great. That didn't happen.
No.
Or, hey, maybe we're going to get a Paternoster Gang spinoff with Madame Vastra, Jack, Strax, and Jenny. Wouldn't that have been cool?
That would have been cool.
Or a unit spinoff.
Or, Paul McGann, a web series of Paul McGann as the Doctor.
Yeah, or a web series, or even just an 8th Doctor spinoff series. Wouldn't that have been cool?
Yes.
No, we didn't get that. What we got, however.
So before you give the answer, I recommend you guys, and we don't usually recommend other podcasts, but the 2-Minute Time Lord is one of my favorite Doctor Who podcasts because
after this one,
yeah. But you don't want to vote for yourself.
Yes, you do.
Okay. This Chip does only a 2 or 3 minute podcast, and it's amazing how much he can get done in the 2 or 3 minutes. Unlike Charles and I, who tend to ramble. Hey, I'm guilty of that. But they did a special. It is funny to hear because they did crowd reactions of people going crazy when it was announced that
we get we're getting a new 8-episode series centered around the Coal Hill School in modern London, called Class. So
What is
yeah,
this?
it's the Price is Right theme.
Yes. Yeah. So
And everybody on the internet was like, "Really? That's the big announcement. All the Doctor Who spin-offs you could do,
mhm.
and we're getting students at the Coal Hill School." Now, my question though,
Mhm.
will Clara be part of this spin-off?
I don't know. And
Because it would kind of like that would make it more interesting to me because it's like,
yes.
hey, it's a Clara Oswald series, and that she's kind of leading the charge almost the way Sarah Jane did on the Sarah
Well,
Jane adventures.
and I do feel like this is a at least spiritual sequel to the Sarah Jane,
Right.
Smith Chronicles.
It's a young adult series.
Yes, and so I don't think it's a bad thing.
No.
And Charles and I will be covering it.
Yep.
Unless we just find it horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm throwing that in there right now.
Chain and Company. Just saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think if they have a couple of the class, the actors and actresses that were the students before.
Yeah, remember what if like Courtney?
Yeah, exactly.
From last series 8.
Yeah.
She's in it. Wouldn't that be interesting? Although I do want to know who is the caretaker.
Yes, I saw that tweet. Is Sarah Jane Smith's son in high school age or is he in college?
Luke Smith would have been, he would have been probably entering, let's see, that was last time we saw him was 2009.
Yeah.
And he was kind of in high school. So okay. I would imagine he's gone off to university by now.
Okay.
Presumably.
All right.
But so I don't think he'll be part of this show.
Okay.
Maybe he'll appear. We don't know.
He could be a student teacher.
He could be.
Almost, you'd have to kind of push a little bit at times.
Yep. But this is essentially to me. It feels like a Sarah Jane Adventures replacement, which is not a bad thing because that was a great show. And with the Coal Hill School setting, it's obviously a major nod to Doctor Who because. Yes. Coal Hill School has been around since the very first Doctor Who episode, and An Earthly Child, because that's where Susan attended, with school teachers Ian and Barbara, and then they go off with the first Doctor and go off and have adventures, and the show was launched back in November 23rd, 1963.
So, Charles, do you know anything about the showrunner?
Well, I know that Moffat is executive producing.
Of course.
So he's with some other people. I've got it. Oh, I wish I could. I had my iPad around here, but maybe I could pull it up.
It's a young adult writer, so I thought maybe you had recognized. I
didn't recognize it, but let me pull up Damn Good Coffee and Hot. That should probably cover it.
Yeah,
because Damn Good Coffee and Hot. Exactly.
We can use our own resources.
I'm allowed. It's my blog.
Yeah,
okay, I can do
it.
Okay, let's see here. Yeah, it is going to be executive produced by Stephen Moffat and Brian Minchin. Okay. And let's see. Patrick Ness is the writer.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with his work.
All right. Well,
but according to the press release, it says Patrick understands young audiences and we're delighted to be used his incredible skills as a storyteller. Blah blah blah. So, we'll see.
He won the annual Carnegie Medal from British librarians for Monsters of Men,
right.
And A Monster Calls. The Chaos Walking trilogy. Mm-hmm. So he is an American author and journalist who moved to London 28 years ago and holds dual citizenship, according to Wikipedia. So I do not recognize those books, but we'll see what happens. I may have to check that out.
Yeah, they do describe the show a little bit. They say, Class is a young adult series set in contemporary London. Incredible dangers are breaking through the walls of time and space. Perhaps in cracks, we don't know.
Okay.
And with the darkness coming, London is unprotected. With all the action, heart, and adrenaline of the best young adult fiction, such as Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Hunger Games, this is Coal Hill School and Doctor Who like you've never seen them before.
Well, and he wrote the ebook Tip of the Tongue, which was the Fifth Doctor and Nyssa.
Yes.
So I remember that was a good story.
Okay, good.
So yeah, I don't know if you read those stories. You didn't read all the.
I read Neil Gaiman's.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd read Neil Gaiman's The Nothing O'Clock by
Yeah.
Neil Gaiman, so I read that one. That was it.
They're all worth reading.
I'm sure they are. I'm
Yeah,
sure they are.
yeah. Especially, I think you would enjoy them more than I do, knowing the doctors.
Yeah.
You know, because in fact, I think I need to reread them because of that. So yeah, we're excited, and more Who is good.
Yeah, 8 45-minute episodes airing sometime in 2016.
Yeah, and so we'll see what happens, right?
Yep, we will.
Okay. What else do we need to talk about, Charles?
Maybe a reverse the polarity?
Yes, please.
Okay. Because since we're kind of on the subject of ghosts.
Yes. And to give you a little behind the scenes, sometimes we have agenda, sometimes we don't. And
always have agendas.
Well, and one of the questions I was going to ask Charles earlier, and I'm going to ask him now as a lead-in, is, they seemed, Moffat seemed to like, oh, it was good to tell an old-fashioned ghost story.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor saying, there's no such thing as ghosts, and and then we've proven that they're ghosts, and this, though, have we had ghosts in the past?
Yes, we always have ghosts, like ghosts in air quotes with sharks with frickin' laser beams. We have ghosts, but they always turn out to be aliens or some other scientific-y sci-fi explanation.
Right.
This probably will be no different.
Yes.
I don't anticipate these are real ghosts. Usually the whole point is that Doctor Who kind of explains that stuff away.
Right.
We had the the Army of Ghosts, which turned out to be the Cybermen. We had the 11th Doctor episode Hyde, which turned out to be an alien creature. So it just it's always one thing or another. And we also had this episode back in 2005 called The Unquiet Dead.
Okay.
During the Christopher Eccleston era. It was the third episode from Eccleston's run, written by Mark Gatiss, directed by Euros Lyn, and this is where we get into the reverse the polarity.
Yes.
Where we have the 9th Doctor and Rose traveling back to 1869 Cardiff, Wales on Christmas Eve, where there are sightings of strange blue ghosts, and they end up holding a seance to communicate with the dead, with apparently an ancestor of the lovely Eve Miles from Torchwood.
Yes. Right.
So these ghosts end up revealing that they're actually the remains of this alien race called the Gelth that was devastated during the Time War, and they now use corpses as a means to survive. So those are dealt with, and it's another where you think it's ghosts, and it turns out to be just some alien race. So that's why I think this will be no different, or at least there'll be some scientific explanation.
Okay.
So that was my connection.
Okay, very nice.
Now I was gonna do there's an undersea base episode.
Okay.
It was called Warriors of the Deep from Peter Davison's era, but it's a really bad episode. So I can't really recommend it.
Right.
But it does have the Silurians and the Sea Devils returning for the first time since the Jon Pertwee era, and they kind of team up for the first time. But it's not a great episode. But it is an undersea base episode. So if you dig it's an undersea base under siege by the Silurians and the Sea Devils. So if you dig that, then check out Warriors of the Deep. Have fun with it. Okay. And go like a Mystery Science Theater with it.
Okay, very nice. Cool. Okay, Charles, thank you as always. This was a blast.
As always.
And yes, we are. We have football schedules, and so we're every week. It's like, okay, when are the Browns playing? When are the Bengals playing? When are your family duties? When are the Cowboys playing? Yes. Yep. So we appreciate you. I appreciate you working. And so, Charles, how can they get a hold of you?
I am at Charles Skaggs on the Twitter machine and Instagram. I'm also on Facebook and Google Plus for all you crazy kids on the Google Plus. Shout out to
Karen.
Shout out to Karen, who is apparently in the ER this week, so we weren't able to record the Fandom Zone podcast.
Okay.
So I hope she's feeling better by now.
Mm-hmm.
And also my bloggy things, Damn Good Coffee and Hot.
Yes.
I talk about things like Doctor Who and class and all kinds of stuff. So
Absolutely.
Next Stop Everywhere. So I hope you check it out.
Absolutely. And I am at Jesse Jackson, DFW.
Mm-hmm.
And you follow me. You every once in a while get to see me in a political debate. And I always
win. No.
I always promote our podcast. I guess there's something going on with the Opie show, and they included me in this. And
apparently on Twitter, you get harassed by people.
Yes.
That think you're the real Jesse Jackson, apparently.
Yes.
And so you have the best way of handling it by saying, "Hey, why don't you check out Next Stop Everywhere?"
Yeah. I always reply, "I'm wrong, Jesse Jackson. I'm the one obsessed with Bruce Springsteen and Doctor Who." By the way, we had a very good month last month with downloads. Thank you guys so much.
That's our new record, isn't it?
I do not think we have had this many downloads before, and I am just honored.
Yeah, we hit a new high, so that's awesome.
Yeah,
keep it going, guys. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your significant others.
Yes,
and
please
like us on Facebook.
Yes, and go to iTunes and rate and review us. It is how people find the show. And retweet when we put out the new episodes. So we appreciate that.
Spread the word, my people. Spread to everyone you know.
And I was very happy that my new Bruce Springsteen podcast hit over 500 downloads for the first time.
Well.
Yes, right, so I was very pleased. Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So for now, we're going to say thank you. I'm going to say keep hope alive. And I'm going to say... that's the charm of a ghost story, isn't it? Not the scares and the chills, that's just for children, but the hope of some contact with the great beyond. We all want some message from that place. It's the Creator's greatest mystery that we're allowed no such consolation. The dead stay silent and we must wait. Nice. Thank you, Charles. Talk to you later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.